All right, guys, this is gonna be a video help on the worksheet, your homework for tonight. It is very calculator heavy in the sense of that's you need to use that tool to help you problem solve. Um, but we're gonna talk about options for that. So first one, this is the option, this calculator. You don't have to buy that. What you can do is you have the option. You can look for a free version online. If you go to calculator, where is it? Calculator 84. This is the person. Let me just show you what the app looks like because it'll pop up once I hit this. Right here. This is what it looks like right here. You can get this, and it is the same calculator that we use in class, and this can be put on your phone. Okay, or you have the option of Desmos. So here's what I want to do. I'm gonna review some of the keystrokes we did on our calculator, but I'm gonna focus on Desmos to help you with your homework, and we're gonna practice this in class too. So if you go to desmos.com, I would say log in to keep track of your work, and I'll just show you what that looks like when if you don't. But you don't have to log in to get to the calculator. If you just go right here at the top where it says Math Tools, and you're going to choose Graph and Calculator. Okay. So we type our equations over here to the side, and if you notice, it's untitled. You can't save it because right here it says log in and sign up. To save your work, you have to log in, but you can still work in the calculator as much as you want without it. Okay, I'm gonna close this out real quick. Just a reminder. So on our problem here, we need to determine the asymptote and if it's growth or decay. So we're gonna type this equation in, and I'm gonna show you how to do that on the Desmos. So if I go, let me go right there, right here where it says y equals. Now on the paper it says f of x. I just want you to see, in our calculator we have to say y equals with the ti. On the decimals, you can do F and then, oops, sorry, parentheses, open parentheses, put the X, and then hit equals, and then you can type in the equation. So we have 2, then we're going to do parentheses, 3, close the parentheses. Now, to raise to a power of, to raise the base, the 3, to an exponent, a power of an exponent. On our calculator in TI, we have to hit this little arrow caret button. That exists on the keyboard as well. I'm not sure if you know. That's on your 6. So I'm going to show you the 2 ways you can get that on Desmos. So you could do shift and then 6 and it pops up like that. Okay. Or, and I just backed it. If you look down here, you can show the keyboard. And that has all these options that you can use, like absolute value, x squared, and x and a y, the inequality symbols. So I don't need a power of 2. I need a power that's not 2. So that's why it's a to the b power. So you can click that, and it does a little subscript above it. But now we're going to type in x minus 1. Oh, no, sorry, x. Let me go back. X minus, why is it not showing my subscript? Sorry. Put in parentheses. X minus 1, minus 2, minus 1. So that might be the different new feature. You have to put that in parentheses of Desmos. All right, so parentheses, guys. Got it? And I'm going to arrow to the right. Now I can do minus 5. And I don't know if you notice that as I'm typing here, it's putting the graph on the coordinate plane. It's showing you the graph. Now, some features to do in the graph. If you have a cursor and you have like the little rolling dial, as long as the cursor is on the graph, you can zoom in, zoom out. Okay. Let's say you don't have that little rolling dial over here. You have these little features. Change the graph setting. Right here is zoom in, so you can click that to zoom in. This is zoom out. You can click that to zoom out. Okay. So I can read this graph going from left to right. This is a growth because it's increasing. And if what I want to do, I'm going to zoom in. And if you put the cursor anywhere, hold it down, you can drag. See, we can see where it's kind of flattened out right here. And if I come over here, there, I can see that number in between. Do you see? We have basically the horizontal asymptote is right here at this -5 right here. And so I'm going to just type that equation. Horizontal lines are always y equals a number. So I'm going to write y equals -5. And if you notice, right now it's a blue line right here. So if I want to kind of, so you do have some features to change the colors and stuff like that, but you have to hit the setting here. And then I want to talk about my blue line. So if I click there, I'm going to make this now a dotted line like we did in class. This is kind of changing the weight of the line, so I'm going to make it a 4. So it makes it a little thicker. You see that? I can change my colors here. So the horizontal asymptote is this dotted blue line that I have here. Okay. So on your worksheet, you would have to write that horizontal asymptote. Let me get my pen, and we're just gonna put HA for horizontal asymptote. Y equals a -5, and then we saw that this was a growth. Okay. All right. So 4 through 9, and actually the remainder of the question is you need a calculator to help you problem solve. So I'm gonna focus on the Desmos, and we're gonna make sure you know how to do both. Um, so if I want to do a different graph, so I'm now going to, like, let's say I needed to do number 5. Okay. I have two options here. I can click on this setting, this edit button, and I can delete all of them, and it will clear out the whole graph. Okay. So I'm going to type in g sub x. Okay. G parentheses x, close the parentheses, equals, and then I'm typing in our equation 3 times 2 to the x power. Arrow over, close the parentheses. There it is right there. And automatically there it is on the graph. Okay. And look, if you know there's a little gray, let me see if I can zoom in right there. See that little gray out point to show that's a point on the y-axis. That's the y-intercept. And I can click that and I can make it bold. Okay. Or not click it and take it off. Notice when I hover, it shows you the order pair. All right, so I'm going to zoom out. Now, there's some things you could do on your graph. I'll talk about that later. We'll do that in class. Let's just get to the table. Let's just get the work done. All right. So if I want to make a table of values for this function, I need to click on this line right here. And actually, no, I want to go back to the line right here and go to edit list. Okay. And you get the option right there. It says create table. So you can click on that and the table is going to be listed right below. There it is. Okay. Notice there's your table of values of a -2 to a +2. There's the order pair. And if you notice too, the points are already on the line. Okay. But for our worksheet, we need to go from a -3 to a +3. So I can change the value. I could make that a -3, and it already makes the new value. Make this a -2. Okay. If I hit enter, it's going to give me a space to put in a new value, -1. And then I have the 0, I have the 1, I have the 2. Right now, I just arrowed down to get to that value, right? But if I just hit enter, it's going to just continue to put the values. And every time I hit enter a point value, it puts it on the graph over here on the side, okay? So here, this is what you need to copy into your worksheet. You need to you need to copy, write these point values into the table. And then you want to also plot them, okay, on the graph so that we can get a sense of how this graph is. And hopefully you automatically see that this is a growth because it's increasing from left to right. So what you're going to do, let me get over to our worksheet right here. We're looking at this one here. So let's talk about plotting a point that's a decimal. So this was 0.3, I think 75. And then we have 0.75, and we had 1.5, 3, 6, 12, and 24. Okay. So remember, this is your x-axis, this is your y. Order pairs, you always move x first. So if I go to -3, that's to the left 3, 1, 2, 3, and it's a 0.375. So that's close to 0. So I'm just going to put a little point right above. And if you're not sure, you can go back and look at, oops, sorry, wrong one. Go back, and if I hover over on this point right here, here is my -3. Because my scale is different, look at this. See, I'm zooming in. I'm getting more of a sense of the grid as like decimal points here. But if I wanted to lock it, which is what I was going to show you, then you can see Come out, come out, come out, come out. That the point is closer to being right above that 1. All right. All right. So we got that point. And we have for negative 2, 0.75 is closer to 1. It's almost 1. So it's right above the 1 line. And then at negative 1, it's 1.5. So this is 1. That's 2. 1.5 is right in between the 2 lines, the 2 gray lines here. 0 is at 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And at 1, it is at 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. And 2, it is at 12. And that is off the grid right there. Okay. So what we want you to be able to do is to sketch the exponential. Sorry, I'm just kind of coming through here, and then it's curving, and then it's flattening. Oops, that's flat. It's flattening out right there. Sorry about that. So now just answer our question. So you can sketch it, fill it. You can answer the questions. You should be able to see it off right here. Remember, I can hold it and drag. We can see this is a horizontal line flattening out right here. That happens as it approaches 0. Okay. So remember, if I do y equals 0, and then I'm going to change this right here to make it a nice dotted line right there. That's the horizontal asymptote. Remember, you shall not pass. You can't go past that line. You just approach it. So this is y equals 0. The domain, remember, is always all real numbers. And then our range correlates with that asymptote. Since our asymptote was here, like that, and the graph is above that line, then it is all the values greater than that 0, bigger than 0. So this would be y, excuse me, is greater than 0. Okay, and that will take care of that equation. Now on number 7, I would use these parentheses to help make sure we're raising a power to this expression x minus 1. So if you're in Desmos, you did a graph, which is what we did right here. Okay, I want to do a new graph. I want to start all over. Go back to this list, hit it, click on that little edit spiral wheel, and then we're going to delete all of them so we can start on number 7. And we can do g sub x, or you can say y equals, and then we're going to say 2, and we're going to raise it to a power. So I can do my power with doing shift x, or shift 6, excuse me, and then I'm going to do my parentheses, oops, sorry, parentheses, and in the parentheses, I'm typing x minus 1. I'm going to close the parentheses, and notice there's the graph. I can see it right here to the right. It is going from left to right. It is increasing, so it's a growth. Now, to get the table of values, I'm going to do this again. Y'all remember where you have to go? If you hit right here, if you set that edit list, that spiral, the setting icon, click that, and now choose create a table. There's this little table icon, and there's your table of values that it will automatically generate. But we need to change that value to -3, then a -2, and then I can come down and just hit enter and get my +3. So we need to copy these points, and hopefully again we see that. And I don't think I showed this on the last one, but if you click on the point, they're actually going to show you where those order pairs are on the graph right there. So at a -3, there's that 0.620625, and then there's -2 there. So you want to sketch this, all right? Again, this is approaching 0. So our y asymptote, I'm going to come down here, is y equals 0. And so I'm going to go in my settings. I'm going to change that color of that line. Let's make it green, dotted, and I'll make it a little bit more. There it is. So now you can see that asymptote. And again, the graph is above the line. So that's a good big clue. All right. Now, do we have fractions in the back? No. So let me I'm going to clear this off. Okay. I'm going to talk about that fraction on number 6, because there's a couple ways you could do that. You can do your f of x, sorry, parentheses, parentheses, come on, F, oh, my caps is on, sorry about that, guys. F parentheses X equals, now, parentheses, you could do a fraction two ways. You can do the slash, the forward slash button, that is where the question mark is. So you can do 1 and then do the forward slash, and that creates the fraction box, and do 2. And then you would have to close the parentheses, and then you could do shift 6 to create your caret and do your exponent like such. Okay, that is one way. I'm going to just delete this off. The other way is, again, down here is to show the keypad, and you have a fraction option, which is, why don't I see it? It's not showing. I apologize. There used to be a fraction option to the side. Let me see the functions. No, not the functions. Let's go. Let's go. Nope, let's go back side. All right. So we're just going to do it like I showed. 1 forward slash 2 close, and then we're going to raise it to a power X, and there was our graph. And then you can see this is decreasing. Why is that showing the fraction box? And then remember to get your table values, edit and hit control. Edit and hit table, create table. And then you can see those table values. So use this decimals calculator to help you finish this worksheet here. You have some more graphs on the back. Let's definitely talk about number 9, because you have to a power of x minus 2. So I could delete also here if you just exit out, exit out. So we're gonna y equals, and we're gonna do 2, and I'm gonna raise that shift 6 to, I'm gonna do parentheses, a power of x minus 2, close the parentheses, but then we're subtracting 3. So you have the arrow to the right, and then minus 3. And look what happened. Just shift it down here. So this graph is still a growth. It's increasing, but now I can see, now you might have to do some things to change your table, your graph, because you have little increments in between this -2 and 4. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go right here to this little graph settings. All right, I'm going to say, let's do my increments. Let's say a negative, instead of -10. This is your x-axis, your x values. Those are your domain. Let's make this a -5 to +5. Let's do -8. Oops, hold on. There we go. Sorry, -8. Just click on that. +8. The other thing, I want to go ahead and I'm going to just label the x-axis so we make sure you know. I'm going to label the y-axis here. And you have some more options here if you click on here. More options. You can lock it. We don't necessarily need that. What's the other thing? Oh, the axes, the minor grid. So if I take the minor grid, so now I'm not going to have the points in between. So that's what I'm going to do that. And then, oh, I could also make, see, this is lower. If I want to make it darker, I can click on this. It's going to make it a whole lot bigger. And then I can zoom out and zoom in like I did before. So, oh, the other thing you could do that, if you hit the home, it'll take you back to the basic beginning of your grid. All right, drag, and then look at that. Look at this right here. See, now we're seeing that number between the -2, and now we can see where it's starting to flatten out right here. And notice it keeps going, but it never goes past that. So why that horizontal asymptote is at the equation y equals -3. And they just made that line darker, and I want to make it a dotted line, and let's make it orange. Okay, you kind of see how it's getting closer and closer. So that will help you. That's just another way you can adjust things. Now on this worksheet, on the last part is the matching. So what you want to do, I'm looking, this is where that window might help that I just did. Because if you notice, all of these graphs have a domain of a -5 to +5 and a range of the same thing. So like I'm gonna go ahead and just make sure I set those. If it lets me. Sorry, delete that. -5 to +5. This is changing because I did all that zooming in. Okay. And then -5 to a +5. All right. And then there is some reverse contrast, but I really don't want to do that. And then what I want to do here, I'm going to delete that, and we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to start with the first, which is 4 parentheses, 0.5, close the parentheses, raise it to a power x, that's shift 6, and then put that x. We're going to arrow to the right and -2. And then I can drag this over. I'm just zooming in. Let me zoom in. Oops, that's a little bit too much. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Oops, I went too far. There we go. Okay, so here I'm looking for a match with this equation. So I'm looking for a horizontal asymptote that goes to a -2, and it's showing a negative, it's showing a decay, a decreasing, and that is, oh, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to be doing this, but I'm hoping you see that that is number A, or letter A. Okay. So use your decimals calculator or use the TI-84. So like if I do 11 here, y equals 4 parentheses, code 2 inside the parentheses, raise it to power x, and graph it. Here the y-intercept, the horizontal asymptote is at 0 and it's increasing. So we're trying to find a match that goes with this, okay? So you need to look at your answer choices, okay? They're trying to show this as a dotted line. I don't know if you noticed this. You have to look closely, but this is the dotted line that's representing the horizontal asymptote. There again, there's the dotted line. Again, that's the dotted line. So they're trying to give you an idea where, oops, where that horizontal asymptote is. I'm surprised to not make it straight. But there you go. So we're going to practice this some more. We're actually going to go into how to do some word problems with exponential growth and decay. But now you kind of get yourself familiar with the decimals calculator. And the other thing I do want to stress is there's a lot of different features. It can do it's a very powerful component because it addresses all types of graphing when you get into calculus or trig. And so there's things that you might be able to type on here that you will not have access to on STAR. I just want to give you a heads up. You do have access to a decimals calculator, but they have set parameters and they have turn on and turn off features that you cannot get to. I'll give you a prime example. Sorry. Look what I am doing here. I just typed in a standard form equation. You cannot do that on STAR. And it just graphed it. We can only graph in slope intercept form. So just giving you a heads up. You might let it to help you problem solve or to check your work, but you need to know how to do it exactly the way I'm showing you in class. All right, that's it. Thanks. Get it done. Be ready to show what you know. All right, thanks.